channel. And please do check out my website if you don't know who I am. tinaheals.com as well as srimatavidya.org. So first we are going to begin by the announcement that 23rd begins Chaitra Navratri. And this is a very special time of spiritual awareness, of Kundalini rising. The Kundalini Shakti is the Adi Shakti, it's Devi Shakti. So if Devi is worshipped during Navratri, then Siddhi is quick. Siddhi is quick. When Devi is worshipped on any Navratris, there are 4 Navratris in a year. So, but before doing Devi sadhana, there are a few things to take into consideration. That is that Ganpati sadhana must be concluded. Why? Because the energy cannot rise from the Mooladhara chakra if you do not balance the Mooladhara chakra. So this is super important, okay, to balance the Mooladhara chakra and allow the rooting deep within the earth's heart. Because Mooladhara is Prithvi Tattva, lung Prithvi Tattvatmikayai Gandham Samarpayami. Prithvi Tattva activating our olfactory nerves, the smell. So it's very important to work with Ganpati before you can get into Devi sadhana. As well as people who are doing Devi sadhana for a while but not getting any anubhati or bhava, which means emotion. For them, it is absolutely mandatory to put a reset button, because this energy can be realized very profoundly. With recently, while I have been doing Bagalamukhi sadhana, and I intend to do a long anushthan for my clients actually, and then continue for 9 days, and then continue on for at least 45 days of Bagala Shabdi Vidya. Now, so you definitely need mudras. You need mudras for obesity. You need to activate your spiritual energy. Only then can you release the sluggishness. Again, obesity is kapha dosha. Kapha dosha in Ayurveda, it means water and earth imbalance. So kapha dosha. The thing to target obesity is also looking at your natal chart and identifying the markers and how you can optimize the 6th house of health. The 1st house. See, oftentimes it's seen that if Jupiter is in the 1st house, these people tend to become obese, especially if Jupiter is afflicted. Even Ketu makes stumpy bodies, alright? For instance, Saturn can give no matter how thin, Saturn doesn't make an individual fat or chubby in the 1st house. But having Saturn in the 1st house can mean that you have a pot belly, no matter how thin you are. So having a little misshapen stomach, okay, could signify. Mars in the 1st house, people don't tend to become chubby with Mars. But I have seen that Mars can also thank you. Mars can also reveal certain eating disorders or stomach imbalances. And ultimately, it's all about the gut bacteria. So the gut bacteria has to be balanced, and for that, diet is really important. Establishing yogasana, a regime, a practice, a sustained practice, remember. Not that, oh, I went for a walk today and I didn't go for a walk for like 4 days, and again I went and I walked 2 hours and I thought that, okay, the whole week's walking is done. No. No. Every day, even if it is only 20 minutes, a sustained practice has to be developed. It is the key not only to losing weight, which of course, we all want to lose weight, we all want to look good, but it gives you a spiritual power also when your body becomes fit. And the optimal weight is actually very, very necessary for sadhana. Because if you become obese, then you may not be able to sit down, or you may not be able to do something. Even forget sadhana, anything actually. Your knees take a hit. Your knees take a hit, firstly, and your back. So again, Saturn is playing a role in this. Just we have to strengthen that Saturn anyways. So planetary understanding of planets and how they function in your Kundali and as well as D9 chart, and then remedying them. See, the thing with Jyotish is, it doesn't just tell you that, look, okay, Saturn's in your first house with Rahu, or Mars is in the first house with Rahu, you have Angarki Yoga and you're fucked and you don't know what to do. Jyotish actually tells you that, okay, this may be the case, but this is what you can do for that. So again, this rectification, and again, it's like almost like working on ourselves, right? Not almost, like it is working on ourselves, right? When you look at a planet and look at its afflictions, and you try to correct them, you try to rectify them, then in a sense, it goes without saying that you are working on yourself. And working on yourself is very, very important. And it's mandatory, actually, that's why you're here, self-growth. Because if you grow, you can take a bunch of people with you and help them grow. So this is something to consider, really seriously think about, that if there's something we want to change about ourselves, about maybe the way we look, obesity, maybe some health complication, then it's important to get your natal chart done, of course, for sure, because you have to see the malefics, how they are placed, 6th house, 8th house, who's the Marankaraka, and a lot of things, right? Then you can understand that, okay, I have this disease, but this is what I can do. There are yogasanas as well, Hatha Yoga, that can help you with centering and focusing energy on the planet. And planets also have chakras, and they also correspond to chakras. Planets also have Mahavidyas. So that's the thing, right? To find balance. That is very important, and that is literally what you need to do. Many people say that, oh, if a planet is afflicted, don't make a talisman on that planet, or don't try to apply any remedy to that planet. That's absolute hogwash. Because if someone is sick, or if someone's needy, you help them, right? You don't just ignore them. So it's the same with planets. Everything happens because of planetary rays that we channel from the planets. In fact, if you look at the solar system, you'll see that Saturn is bringing all of these energies from beyond, okay? From, the Kuiper belt, and then Uranus and the Neptune, then the Kuiper belt, then Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, right? And beyond, the heliosphere, which is a bubble that has been created specially for our survival. That the sun has a heliosphere, which means it's a protective bubble. When they say that don't live in a bubble, we literally live in a bubble. Otherwise, we would be bombarded by, gamma ray bursts, supernova bursts, asteroids, and space debris, right? And we would be bombarded with them. And we don't even know if we would survive if the sun had not created this heliosphere around us, around the solar system. So it is if the sun is the king of this simulation, then Saturn is the minister, the hand of the king. And it is Saturn's responsibility to bring information from the fixed stars, the nakshatras. For instance, Saturn is now in Kumbh Rashi. Saturn is just about to enter Satavisha. So here we have Saturn channeling energy from Formahalt or Satavisha, which is 100 healers. The sign being a circle, the Ouroboros, time eating itself. So Saturn at this point is bringing for us energy of Formahalt, right? Which and many people are going to think Saturn is in Pisces. No. Saturn is in Aquarius. Saturn is in Pisces according to Western astrology, which bases its calculations not on the fixed stars, but on the advent of the sun into Aries. That starts their astrological calendar. But whereas when you come to Jyotish, we come to the exact calculations of the fixed stars. I'm not saying dissing Western astrology. I find it amazing actually. When I was younger, I refused to listen to my parents that I was an Aquarius moon. I was really unhappy with that. I said, no, I don't want to be an Aquarius moon. And then, in Western astrology, I was a Pisces moon. I was like, yes, that's what I want to be. I want to be a Pisces moon, right? I don't want to be the Aquarius moon. No, you're not putting that on me. Is there an option? Yes, there is a Western astrology. You can check that. So I believed hardcore that no, I'm not an Aquarius moon. I am, in fact, a Pisces moon. And it worked for me. Why? Because I kind of like didn't know this at that point. My grandfather did, but I learned later on that in Satavisha, my moon is in Pada 4, which happens to be Meen Navamsa, which happens to be Pisces Navamsa. So in that little bit of Aquarius space, my moon was situated in the Pisces Navamsa. So in a sense that my feeling that I was indeed, and I would not be, spoken to otherwise, that I was indeed a Pisces moon. Because who wants to be an Aquarius moon, right? I mean, who wants to be a Saturn moon? But seriously, that's how synchronicities work, that's how connections are made, that's how syncretism occurs when you look at the similarities in a system. However, when you're looking at Saturn into Pisces right now, when Saturn really goes into Pisces, it's going to be the end of not the end, but my Saraswati setting. But boy, will we feel a change, a shift. Saturn is so in Aquarius right now, and I feel it heavily. And Satavisha and Saturn's just about to enter Satavisha, and Satavisha is completely in Kumbh Rashi. So it's got that extreme Rahu, ruled by Rahu, right? So again, that has its own, although Formahalt or Satavisha has an extremely benefic energy, 100 healers though, right? So as I said, the synchronicities are there for us to see. But you must remember that the exact calculations of Jyotish oftentimes give us crazy results. All right, and I have, I do a combination. Nice to meet you. Hello. And I do combination charts, So for people I get a lot of American students, a lot of them. And a lot of them, because of course I provide a kind of content, the kind of content that I provide with Tantra, the Dasha Mahavidyas, goddess worship. Honestly, it's the only kind of such extensive, exclusive content found on YouTube in English. Because, most of the channels that are Tantra based, unless of course you're a big name like Sadhguru. Excuse me. Other than that, you don't really see a ton of tantrics who are, say, from the Nath Sampradaya, or who are doing work right now in the field, they tend to speak the vernacular. So this crossover point is an interesting skill set that I bring to the table. So that's why I get a lot of outstation or students from overseas, different countries. So having said that I do this combination chart. Why? Because they are. Hello, hi Gayatri. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So as I was saying that, I completely forgot. Such a sweet message from a very sweet girl. What was I saying? Look at that. I told blank. Hey, yeah, a crossover. It says so. I do this combination chart, right? So if you've only had Western astrology and you just have no idea about your Vedic astrology, so then it's interesting to see the similarities, the disparities, right? The differences that you're 24 degrees behind in the Vedic calendar. So say you are 24 degrees Leo, then you're like literally 0 degrees of Leo. All right. So sometimes interesting crossovers happen when you see that, wow, in both the systems, I am, maybe say an Aquarius moon, or say a Pisces moon, or say a Cancer moon. Then you see that, wow, that's quite crazy, right? So things like that. With the combination chart, it's always interesting to see the similarities that play out, the intricacies in a natal chart. And of course, with the Vedic, we don't only do one chart, Good astrologers, they are going to look at least 4 to 5 to 6 divisional charts for you as well. And of course, study the Kundali, the moon chart, the nakshatra charts, as well as the D9 chart very thoroughly. And from this, they will surmise what you need to know. So yes, it's a lot of work with the Vedic. But if you just study the Kundali chart, it's meh, okay? So here we are going into divisional charts, right? So that's also very interesting to see. Now, my swing is making some weird frequency. All right. So, the thing with your natal chart is to know yourself, know thyself. So, how can you know thyself? Silence, good diet, exercise, contemplation, correct thoughts, correct action, correct habits. Also, astrology. Why? Because everything that you see dense and solid is actually made up of atoms that are more than 99.99999, some atrocious nines, empty. So we are mostly the void, the great void. We are mostly empty, yet we have this very dense physical experience of loss, of grief, of strife, of conflict. I can literally feel that, like, there is literally a higher self that is guiding me through this. The higher self exists in another dimension, right? Of course, because here we experience the 3 dimensions and we have time as a 4th dimension. But when you look at cosmic events, time doesn't matter. There is no time per se. So, in higher dimensions, there is no physical body. There is no strife, there is no conflict, there is no sexual procreation. So we come into this dense reality to come and experience all of these emotions. Why? It's crazy. It's divinity knowing itself. It's carbon-based life forms contemplating carbon. That's literally, it's us contemplating the stars above, realizing our connection to everything that is, to knowing that we are entangled in this quantum web that it's all of our stories. It's all of our story. Stories, yeah, plural. We won't get there. It's all of our story. Let's keep it singular. The narrative that is playing out. And we all have a task. Shall I say task? Task sounds harsh. Dharma. It's a dharma to add to this beautiful, messy creation, to cry, to lose someone, to feel that grief, to sit in silence and feel a connection to everything that is, that will be, right? So, to get into this kind of space, like what is this woman talking about? How can everything be entangled? How can everything be a part of one? Look at all the diversity, right? Look at all the exclusivity, right? Oh my God! Every time I sit to do for who is it? My neighbor. Hey, be careful. Call your dad. Alright, so guys, my neighbor has suddenly popped up and decided to interfere. But I'll see you soon, alright? Hopefully I'll be back in half an hour or so. Thank you.